Thank you. I couldn't hear it. You can tune in anytime you want. You can just look on Facebook. Something I struggle with, honestly. But now that we're live on television, I'm going to go ahead and welcome everybody and say Shabbat Shalom. Welcome back to our in-person worship. Again, 2 weeks in a row. How wonderful this is. If you're joining us on our stream, I say good evening and Shabbat Shalom to you as well. We haven't quite got our Zoom up running yet, but we've made some major improvements to the quality of our video and audio in this last week, and so hopefully everything's going to be sounding wonderful if you're at home as well. Let's begin with some wordless music, a nigun. If you've got a copy of the Mishkan Tefillah for Shabbat, page 10, right at the bottom, will show you the way to Shabbat HaMalkah. Achama merosh ha'ilona nistalka Bo v'netzeh likrat Shabbat HaMalkah Hinei yoredet הקדושה הברוכה, עם המלאכים צבא שלום ומנוחה. בואי בואי המלכה, בואי בואי הכלה. שלום עליכם מלאכי השלום. The sun on the treetops no longer is seen. Come gather to welcome the Sabbath, our Queen. Behold her descending, the holy, the blessed, and with her the angels of peace and of rest. Draw near near, and here abide. Draw near, O Sabbath bride. Come also to you, you angels of peace. On page 2, you will find the lighting of our Shabbat candles. And as a special honor, I'd like to welcome up all the members whose mother are currently president to light the Shabbat candles. Oh, there's only one of you. Oh, that was a shocker. That's all right. Oh, the camera. All right. You better wait one moment there, young lady. All right? Give me 1 second here. The wonders of streaming, we don't have a lot of video techs running our service. So when we need to change camera angle, somebody needs to be responsible for that. So, Alexandra, you're on.
Is it English or something? It's a little rusty. I do the candles right. Whole thing, I'm a little rusty. Oh, there we go. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. We continue with our Shabbat evening Kiddush, which you can find on page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh. Zecher letziat Mitzrayim, Ivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodsecha, be'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. L'chaim. On page 12, the words of L'chuna Ranana from the 95th Psalm. L'chuna Ranana, L'chuna Ranana, L'chuna Ranana l'Adonai. L'chuna Ranana, L'chuna Ranana, L'chuna Ranana l'Adonai. נריה לצור ישענו נקדמה פניו בתודה. נריה לצור ישענו מזמירות נריה לו. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. On page 20, Lecha Dodi, we welcome the Sabbath bride. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekabla. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekabla. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, hishmi'anu el hamyochad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem u'tiferet v'letihila. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekabla. Likrat Shabbat, lechu v'nelecha, ki hi mekor habracha. Merosh mikedem mesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat chila. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekabla. Mikdash melech ir melucha, kumitz'i mitoch ha'afecha. Rav lach shevet be'emek habacha, vehu yachamol alayechem la. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekabla. Itnari me'afar kumi, livshi bigdei tifartecha mi. Ayad ben Yishai beit halachmi, korva el nafshi ge'ala. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, nekabla. Hitoreri, ki va'orech kumi ori. Uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabla, nekabla. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam besimcha uvtzola. Toch emunei am segula, boi chala. Lecha dodim likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabla, nekabla. Lecha dodim likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabla, nekabla. You may be seated. I invite you to a few moments now to breathe, to let go of this last week. Summer has officially started here on the Cape, we know, because it now officially takes 20 minutes longer to get from any one point to any other point. And the supermarkets are strangely missing regular items. But we're going to put all that, and you can't turn left. That is correct. No more left turns until September. So let's just let go of all of that for a moment. And instead, bring into our hearts and our minds a sense of blessing on this holy day. Blessing that we can be here with our family, with our community family. And blessing that we share the gift of life yet another Shabbat. Inside our leaflet, a thought for this week from Mary Anton. We are not born all at once, but by bits. The body first, and the spirit later. And the birth and growth of the spirit in those who are attentive to their own inner life are slow and exceedingly painful. Our mothers are racked with the pains of our physical birth. We ourselves suffer the longer pains of our spiritual growth. We turn forward to page 145 for the words of Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah ve'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchayetecho beit Yisrael Bagala, ubizman kariv, timeru. Yeheshme Rabba mevarach, le'alam ulal me'almaya, yitbarach, yitbarach v'yishtabach, yitpa'ar v'tramam v'tnaseh, Vitadar, vitale, vitalal, shemede kudesha, brichu, la'ela, min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, ta'amiran be'alma, imeru, amen. Baruch Hu on page 146. La 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach, Hamevorach le'olam va'ed. Hamevorach, Hamevorach le'olam va'ed. You may be seated. We join together on the following page. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv arabim. Ahavat olam on the following page. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu lemadta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, v'shochbeinu uvkumeinu, nasiach bechukecha. ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו לאורך ימינו, לאורך ימינו, ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה, יומם ולילה. Va'avatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. We continue with the words of the Shema as we affirm the unity of God. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom ha'levavecha Vishinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, b'shiftecha b'vetecha, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all. Yet that oneness eludes our grasp as imperfection and evil abound. Before our eyes, there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness. There's evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul. When will redemption come? When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves. Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High. We learned God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate this power that makes for freedom. Our song of freedom, Mi Chamocha. Mi Chamocha Ba'elim Adonai, Mi Kamocha Nedar B'Kodesh, Nora Tehilot Osef Ele, Nora Tehilot Osef Ele, Malchutecha Ra'u Banecha, Bokei Hayam Lifnei Moshe uMiriam, Ze'eli anu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch, Adonai yimloch, le'olam va'ed. Ve'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov, ugelo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu L'Shalom, Ve'hamidenu Shomreinu L'Chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu L'Shalom, Ve'hamidenu Shomreinu L'Chaim. Ushmor Tzeitenu Uvoenu L'chaim u'l'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu L'Shalom, ve'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu L'Shalom, ve'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael. V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. We rise, our Amidah begins on page 155. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer, Umoshia Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Vezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye Metim Atarav Lehoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chayim B'chesed, Mechaye Metim Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Meimit, Umechaye, Umatmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Atala Hachayot Metim, Baruch atah Adonai Mechaye HaMetim, Ata Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh, Ukedoshim B'cho Yom Yahalalu Chasela, Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. On page 160, may these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. May we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu ba'amcha Yisrael, utefilatam ba'ahava tekabel, utehi leratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. El karov l'chol korav, pnei el avadecha v'chonenu, shefoch ruchacha aleinu. V'techazena einenu, b'shuvcha l'tzion, b'rachamim, Baruch atah Adonai hamachazir shechinato b'Tzion. On page 163, for the good in us, which calls us to a better life, we give thanks. The strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise. For the desire in us which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful. For life and nature, harmony and beauty, for the hope of tomorrow, all praise the source of being. For all these things, O Sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, l'cha na'eh lehodot. We pray for peace, shalom rav. Shalom Rab al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rab al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Yatahu Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Ki Yatahu Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. V'tov Einecha Livarech et Amcha Yisrael B'chol עת ובכל שעה משלומך. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. You may be seated. I invite you to some quiet moments for your own prayers this beautiful Shabbat evening. Shalom bimroma Uya'aseh shalom aleinu Ve'al kol Yisrael Ve'imru amen Oseh ועל כל ועל כל ישראל אמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו ויעשה שלום עלינו. ועל כל ישראל אמרו אמן. אמרו אמן. Shabbat Shalom. That's probably working a little better now. You know, a lot has been made of the way our generations are stretching out these days. Each successive group of young people seems to take a little longer to settle down and a lot longer to have children, if they decide to have them at all. School often takes longer to finish than it did in previous years. And careers are now in multiples, not a single path. Long gone are the days of working in a single job or even a profession for 30 or 40 years. Now, none of this is to say there's anything wrong with this. Every generation is different. The world changes, and the challenges it presents are different. Younger people face different pressures than you or I did when we were young, and so it has always been. What does fascinate me, though, is when do we get to call someone an adult? Now, Jewish tradition is pretty plain. Age 12 or 13, depending on girl or boy, you've reached the age of physical maturity, that's it. You're an adult. You have Ol HaMitzvah. You've got the yoke of mitzvah upon you. End of story. Not so simple in our modern times. Because I've noticed a lot of people in their 20s, I've got a few of them in my house right now, still refer to their peers as other kids. It's funny, because at that point in my life, I didn't feel like a kid. But I know my own example is increasingly irrelevant. You know, in my mid-20s, I was married on a career path. By the late 20s, several children, so that was not, I may be atypical. Now, I used to be of the mind that you weren't truly grown up until you found a life partner and built a relationship. And another part of me thought that you really weren't fully grown until you had responsibilities for someone else, a spouse, children. You never really stop being a kid until you have to take care of one. But by that standard, there would be an awful lot of children running around in adult bodies these days. So it begs the question, what does it mean to be a grown-up? What kind of standard should we set to consider a person to be mature? Perhaps a biblical example might help us. Of the many rebellions, small and large, against the leadership of Moses and Aaron in the wilderness, the one that stands above all others is named for their ringleader, Korach ben Yitzhar. So Korach, for whom this week's Torah portion is named, was the one who rounded up Datan, Aviram, and On, and the 250 other tribal leaders who they in turn inspired to challenge Moses. I'm sure we all remember the scene in the movie. And the reason for his challenge? Now see if you think it was the cause of a mature man. And I quote from Numbers 16, "All the community are holy, all of them, and the Eternal is in their midst. Why then do you raise yourselves above the Eternal's congregation?" And when they were summoned by Moses to answer for the rebellion, what did they say? "Nope, we will not come. Isn't it enough that you brought us from a land flowing with milk and honey to have us die in this wilderness, that now you want to lord it over us too? Even if you had brought us to a land flowing with milk and honey and given us fields and vineyards, would you still gouge these men's eyes out in spite? We will not come. Sounds something like a petulant child, doesn't it? Stamping feet and saying no. Korach and company's complaint was, in short, that they did not like Moses being in charge. As a Levite, Korach felt he was owed more than he had. Datan, Aviram, and On were of the tribe of Reuben, who was the firstborn of Jacob, and they thought that they and their tribal kin should be in charge because of their primacy in the birth order. After all, we're the descendants of Jacob's firstborn. Shouldn't we come first? All of them resented Moses and Aaron asserting control and handing down the orders. They never once considered the divine imprimatur for Moses and Aaron to be in charge. They were jealous, they were resentful, and they didn't like being told what to do by anyone. Of course, things don't end so well for them as the next day the earth opens up and swallows them all alive, but that's not really the point of my talk tonight. I'm struck that their complaint was basically about what they were owed from life, what they had coming from the world. Why, they asked, in effect, can't we have everything we think we're entitled to? In doing so, I think they strike a useful standard for what it means to be a grown-up. A grown-up doesn't think about what the world owes them and thinks rather of what they can bring to the world in the limited years granted to them. It's not a maturity that comes at any specific age, and let's face it, for some, it never does. When I look at our nation and on our world, I see a lot of people fixated on what they think they are owed and entitled to, simply because they are so special. No one can tell them that there are restrictions of any kind on their behaviors, or that they can't always have what they want. Their freedoms are absolute, even if others must suffer for them to enjoy them. The so-called Karens and Kens of internet fame keep appearing and asking to speak with the manager because they aren't being made to feel special enough. Korach may have lived 3,000 plus years ago, but his descendants are everywhere. We push back against them when we insist on lodging power with those who have earned it, not with those who feel entitled to it. We push back when we act in a fullness of knowledge, not when we wave our ignorance like a flag for all to see. We push back when filled with a sense of God's blessing of life. We focus not on what we can take for ourselves, but on what we can give back to others. This is the Jewish way. And as Moses told Korach so long ago, truly, it is against the eternal that you and all your company have banded together, not me. Our generations may stretch out longer than they once did, and growing up may take a bit longer than it once did. But maturity is as valuable as it ever was. Korach and his ilk lead to oblivion. They did then, they always will. Those of us who treasure the message that Moses brought to us of a divine path to justice and to joy in life will always find the way to think of others and our higher purpose. We will be good to life. Shabbat Shalom. We offer a prayer for those in our community who suffer from illness and those who are part of our larger family, Misha Berach. Our prayer this evening is with Isaac Clayman, David Cutler, Kathy Leonard, the Garrison family, Ronald Montacone, Jerry Gerhard, Dr. Charles Brennan, Malka Chana Bat Dvorah, Michelle Dickens-Weil, Norman Knopf, Narelle Oxman, Gloria Fitz, Sarah Bat Brachalea, Vadim Yoselevich, Andres Reyes, Stacy Withington, Kenneth Sternberg, Jill King, Jane Leeling, Bat Adeline, Allegra Sussman, Debbie Heller, Janice Smith, Ruthie Berger Cohen, Leah, Nachum Zev Ben Chana, Bela Golda Bat Ruchel Beberel Leib, Myrna Teitelbaum, Wolfie, Leanne Bromberg Isaacson, Tom Potter, Elaine Scholar, I'm so sorry, Marley Chersan Levitt, Bruce Green, Leonard Karp, Charlie Adams, Lauren Daly and Baby, Elaine Ahrens, Lisa Anderson Fleetner, Betty Catchpole, Nisi Shore. Are there others for whom we should pray this evening? Sheberach Avotenu Mekor Habracha Imotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. May God send blessing and healing to all who are in need. Say Amen. On page 259, a prayer for the state of Israel in these tenuous times, undergoing a change of government and many challenges. Sha'alu Shalom Yerushalayim, Yishlayu Avayich. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. Avinu Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Tzmichat Geulatenu. Hagen aleha be'evrat chastecha, ufros aleha sukat shlomecha, ushlach orcha v'amitcha l'rasheha, tzareha v'yotzeha, v'taknem be'etza tova milfanecha, v'natata shalom ba'aretz, simchat olam liyoshveha. Amen. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace and your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. We turn to page 282 for the words of Aleinu. Together we rise. Aleinu l'shabeach la'aton hakol, la'tet gerula liyotzeh breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל Adonai echad, U'shemo echad. You may be seated. The words of Kaddish are on page 294. With them, we remember our loved ones who have been taken from us in recent days and in years past at this season. I ask that you rise as your loved one is remembered. We grieve with Jane Scholar and Dina Scholar, who are observing Shloshim for their mother, Elaine Scholar. The art sites for the following people are in this week: Ruth Bernbach, Sylvia Cohen, Ralph Drucker, Matthew Fink, Esther Freeman, George Hurwitz, Gertrude Lee, Florence Lynn, Ben Rosenthal, Jack Swartz, Eileen Warsofsky, and David Weiss. Are there others for whom we should pray this evening? We rise as one for the words of Kaddish. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah, Ve'alma Tivra Chirutei, Ve'amlich Malchutei, V'chayechon, U'vyomechon, V'chayed Chol Beit Yisrael, V'agalav Yizman Kariv Yimru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam U'lalmei Almaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar V'yitalev V'yithalal, Shemei D'Kudusha B'richu, Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata, Tush B'chata V'nechemata, Da'amiran Be'alma V'yimru, Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'yimru, Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav, V'yaseh Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'yimru, Amen. May God, who causes peace to reign in the heavens above, bring a measure of that peace and comfort to all who grieve, and we say, Amen. You may be seated. It is my pleasure to call on our president, Jennifer Rako.
Thank you, Rabbi. Wonderful to see everybody here. It's great. We have some of the same people from last week and some new people, and it's terrific. And as I said last week, and it wasn't working, but hopefully right now, I hope that everyone on our live stream can see us, whether you're here through our website, capecodsynagogue.org, or Facebook or YouTube, or of course our C3 TV channel 99. So I hope that you're all able to see and hear us this week. We're doing the best we can, getting all of our live stream going. So every week I'm here for some announcements, and as we've just opened recently, announcements, well, there'll be a few things each week and more as all our various committees start the various activities that we do. For those of you here in the sanctuary, have your leaflet, but I will go through, and I'd like to really thank our greeters, Marjorie Kelly and Sharon Meyerson. Thank you so much. It was really appreciate it, and we will be always looking for more greeters as the weeks progress. I'm going to add my little cheaters here. And then this week, so now that we're in person, really, I mean, everything except for Torah study, we are keeping that virtual. So Torah study will be every Thursday, and the rabbi will still send out the Zoom invitations as we did when we were closed. Everything else is in person with live stream. So tomorrow morning, there'll be in-person Shabbat services with Torah study, and that they'll, I think we actually may be streaming that as well, but that'll definitely be in person. I'm now doing in-person office hours, but I'm asking people to let me know they're coming so that they'll be by appointment, and that'll still be 10 o'clock on Tuesdays, and I'll still call it Join Jen at 10. So I'm here if anyone wants to chat. Also, you can always reach out to me, and we can have our own private Zoom or conversation if that will work for you. The Hydrangea Festival is coming. It's not until July. You can read about it both on in our various bulletins we send and the leaflet today, but it looks like it's going to be starting on July 10th. There'll be gardens open also on the 16th and the 17th, and on the 18th of July. And so the Gingolds are helping, Ann and George Gingold are organizing that, and I hope that people will attend. Proceeds do benefit the Independence House and Cape Cod Synagogue. And as I mentioned last week, we've been doing really well with our signups online to help cook for St. Joseph's House. We provide a meal on I believe it's the second Sunday of every month. And if you're interested, reach out to me if you don't know where the sign-up is. We always mention it also in our bulletins that are distributed through email. What's nice is this allows people to bring a component of the meal. They don't have to cook everything for 60 people. And it's been going very well, and thanks to Wendy Lavender Carroll for organizing that. And that's pretty much it right now. Please keep checking our website. If we have a change for the start of services or anything that you might want to see, we'll put it right at the top of the main page on the website, again, capecodsynagogue.org. And so, Shabbat Shalom, wonderful to see you. I hope you'll stay afterwards and say hello in the social hall if you're here. And if you're on the live stream, we'll look forward to seeing you the next time. Take care. Shabbat Shalom.
All right. Our closing song can be found on page 345, Tfilat HaDerech. Blessed as we go on our way, may we be guided in peace. May we be blessed with health and joy. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. May we, sheltered by the wings of peace, may we be kept in safety and in love. May grace and compassion find their way to every soul. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. To join me as we say Motzi, I'd like to invite everybody who's here visiting their grandparents for the month. Oh, I thought there would be more. I'm sorry. Yarasta, Sylvia. All right. So wonderful to have you with us. I know your grandparents feel the same way. So when you grow up here, there's always a part of you that sticks, right? You always just want to keep coming back. It's wonderful. I talked a little bit about maturity during my sermon this evening, and I know that you've always been a wonderful exemplar of that yourself, Sylvia, as I was speaking of how it can come at any age. And for you, it struck pretty young, in most ways, not always. Your parents do talk to me on occasion. Yeah. But remarkably so, you've also been a person focused on giving back, and that makes me so proud. May all of us be focused on giving back. Remember the many blessings we enjoy, and share them with all that we encounter. Please join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Te'avon, and Shabbat Shalom. I'll see you in the social home. For those of you joining us on our stream, Shabbat Shalom. We'll see you soon.